How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 108, Taira vs. Park on August 2nd, 2025. Timestamps in the comments below. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 12. We start with Piera Rodriguez versus Ketlen Souza. I will go with Piera Rodriguez on this one. Ketlen Souza did look pretty solid against Angela Hill last time out in February. I think Piera Rodriguez has a really good stylistic approach to this fight that she can use to her advantage, which is her grappling. She went 8 of 10 on takedowns on Josephine Knudsen, which I thought Josephine Knudsen was actually like a really solid fighter on the come up. You know, she beat the shit out of, was it Marnik Mann, and then she beat was it Julia Pilastri or whatever. Piera kind of did whatever she wanted in the grappling against her, and Ketlen Souza has a very wishy-washy takedown defense percentage. I think it's like under 50, and Piera actually has like a 50% takedown accuracy. So I think that she's just going to be able to get the takedowns going against Ketlen Souza, and her striking isn't that bad. Her striking, she can put combos together. You look at the Ariane Carnelossi fight, which she's like a big meated up, and that's a fight that they share in common. I think Ariane Carnelossi actually beat Ketlen Souza mostly with her grappling. Piera out-grappled her and actually beat her up on the feet. Piera, you know, she can walk people down. Ketlen Souza really is just power at the end of the day. She hits really hard, but, you know, that's because we saw her knock out, you know, Yasmin Harugi, who her chin isn't really the best, to be honest. The Angela Hill fight, even though I thought that she could have won, her output did kind of disappoint me, that she didn't go for more in the fight, and she actually lost that fight due to control time at the end of the day. That is what they scored more for. Angela Hill was the control time in round 3 and round 2. And round 1, for that matter. She got taken down very early round 1 and got held down for the entire round. I think Piera is going to be able to get her grappling going. We're going to see Ketlen Souza lose again. And Piera, she's never been finished by knockout. She's been submitted before, which Ketlen Souza does have a submission win on her record, but she's also been subbed in the UFC. So has Piera Rodriguez. But I think that Piera, like I said, striking combinations into the takedown attempts, a lot of clinching, using her. She's not going to have a ton of size, but she's going to have a bit of width. Ketlen is kind of lower to the ground. Her stance allows it. Her hands are lower to the ground as well. She really throws from the hip to build up momentum into her shot. So I think Piera is going to be able to use a lot of control time here to get a dub. So we're going to see a stinkfest in the first one. Or maybe they slug it out. Who knows? But I predict a grapple fuck. We move to Rafael Estevam versus Felipe Bunes. I'm going to be going with the undefeated fighter, in this case, Rafael Estevam. I think this is, again, going to be kind of boring for a fight. I think it's going to be a lot of grappling. Rafael Estevam's entire career is based off heavy pressure in the first 2 rounds, gas out, lose the third. In this case, he's actually going to be fighting a fighter in Felipe Bunes who also slows down egregiously. So I think he might actually be able to win all 3 rounds in this case. Rafael Estevam has 2 wins in the UFC. He beat Charles Johnson somehow. I honestly thought you could have given that fight to Charles Johnson. I thought he did more damage in the second, but it is what it is. He beat Jesus Aguilar, which that was a clear win, 29-28 in my opinion. Basically, all this guy does is take people down in the first 2 rounds, hold them down. He's got really good control early on when people are dry, and he's very strong early on because he's a big flyweight. He's 5'8". And Felipe Bunes is a bigger flyweight, but I've seen Rafael Estevam deal with the biggest flyweight. Actually, not true. Felipe did. It was Jose Johnson, but the biggest good flyweight, if you will, in Charles Johnson, and he actually beat him in his debut, albeit short notice for Charles Johnson that there and the other. But Rafael's really good grappling-wise early on. His striking's pretty mid. And Felipe Bunes is just mid and old. He's 35 years old for flyweight. I refuse to pick 35 and ups at flyweight, especially when it comes to like against undefeated guys. You know what I mean? I can't fucking pick you to win. So Rafael isn't stupid like Jose Johnson. He's not going to leave his arm in an armbar. He actually can pass guard somewhat. He's like a half guard camper, like half the time. Or he's a clinch spammer. He is really annoying to watch, Rafael Estevam, but he's a clear bank first round. Second round, maybe not as easy to bank, but against Felipe Bunes, I think he will bank it because I think a lot of the grappling will tire out Felipe Bunes. That's actually, he gassed out against Joshua Van because he grappled so much in the first round, and then Joshua Van in the second round was like, oh, you're starting to tire out? Let me dig to your body. And he digged to his body, and that was the first time we saw Joshua Van find a finish in the promotion. So I'm going to be going with Rafael Estevam to win this fight fairly easily, in my opinion. I think he gets it done. I think he wins all 3 rounds. I don't think he finishes Felipe Bunes because I don't know why. I just don't really see Rafael Estevam finishing fights, even though he's got like 8 finishes on his career. I think he's got 4 knockouts, 4 subs. In the UFC, I just think he's going to Movsar Evloev max and just get a bunch of decisions. So I'll go Rafael Estevam 30-27. We move to Austin Bashi versus John Yannis. I'm going to be picking Austin Bashi to beat John Yannis because who really gives a shit? John Yannis took this fight about 5 days ago, I think. No, it wasn't even that long. I think it was literally this Monday or Sunday or some shit that this fight got announced. John Yannis, decent regional career. He's coming off of a win over Nick Aguirre, who, if you don't know, that was who Peyton Talbot beat in his debut. He also beat CJ Jimenez, who has a win over Cameron Smotherman, but John himself has lost to Cameron Smotherman. His last loss in his career, I already fucking forgot all the notes. He's alright. No, he's not. He's pretty sloppy. From what I've seen, he's a pretty sloppy striker. Weirdly kind of skinny fat for featherweight. Used to be a bantamweight, moved up. Older. He's got some power, got some finishes. I think Austin Bashi overall is just a way better athlete. I think Austin Bashi trains at Tiger Muay Thai. No, not Tiger Muay Thai. He's been training with a lot of really good people. He trains in Michigan. He's been training with Diego Lopez. He was mimicking Volkanovski for his camp. He's been training with a lot of really solid dudes. Got really solid Muay Thai, decent wrestling as well. We saw that on the Contender Series when he got a finish, somewhat in the C-Rod fight. My big thing is going from a Christian Rodriguez fight to a John Yannis fight. It's going to be a immense skill difference between the two of them defensively and offensively. John Yannis is nowhere near Christian Rodriguez in any form of like MMA. So super short notice. Austin Bashi has been scheduled on this card since it got made against Francis Marshall, which I thought would have actually been a pretty solid fight. This fight, I feel like it's going to be pretty one-sided. Austin Bashi should get a free win here, whether he wants to wrestle or strike with John Yannis. I think John Yannis will get finished in the second or third round with a submission or knockout. I'll go with a submission. Fuck it. Because I've seen interviews done about his wrestling defense improving and how it used to be really shit. So I'll go Austin Bashi. John Yannis likes to Adesanya a lot. He keeps his hands kind of low. Whenever someone misses, he's like, oh, you missed. Oh, you fucking missed me. I'm fucking jokes of it. I think Austin Bashi should toy with John Yannis in this fight. He should win fairly easily. We move to Nick Klein versus Andrey Pulyaev. I want to pick Nick Klein here because I could see a performance where he's able to wrestle Andrey for the first 2 rounds. I'm going to be picking Andrey Pulyaev, though. I think Nick Klein's cardio really, it shocks me every time I watch tape on him. You look at a lot of fights that go far. You know what I mean? Nick Klein's got a lot of first-round finishes. Andrey, we've seen him weather early storms, like the fight with Liam Anderson on the Contender Series where Liam was trying to get takedowns a lot in that first round. He actually racked up about 6 minutes control time total in that fight. I think I think Pulyaev post round 1 against a guy like Nick Klein, who we saw in the Mansour fight, gets really sloppy with his striking, throws a lot of naked kicks, which is something that Andrey capitalized on when he fought a guy like Liam Anderson on the Contender Series. I think we're going to see another performance where Andrey Pulyaev weathers some early grappling and kind of uses his kickboxing, brutalize the body, kind of knees up the middle, which we saw Mansour Abdul-Malik have a lot of success with against Nick Klein. And I'm seeing a performance against that Dojan guy on the regional scene that Nick Klein fought, where the first 2 rounds he was using his wrestling very well, and in round 3 he got really gassed after a failed takedown entry and then got pummeled afterwards. I think Andrey Pulyaev has decent cardio, and this time around he's not fighting a giant like Christian Leroy Duncan, who also has good cardio, who also can push a pace and has good wrestling, who also has really good striking as well. Like, Christian Leroy Duncan is a telltale horrible matchup for Andrey Pulyaev. I think Nick Klein is an easier matchup. He's shorter, sloppy with the striking. The wrestling will be scary early, I will say. I think Andrey Pulyaev is pound for pound one of the weaker guys at middleweight. I mean, look at him. He looks like a fucking door. I think Nick Klein will do well early on, slow down. Second round will be more competitive, but Andrey will do a bit more. Maybe third round finish for Andrey Pulyaev. Kind of Phil Rowe style against Angelusa, where it's against the fence. He's kind of just doing a lot of dirty boxing, a lot of ripping to the body, shining shoes, and then going upstairs with those little short uppercuts. Maybe he Jeff Neal maxes and throws like 30 of them in a row. I'm kidding. I think Andrey Pulyaev will be able to do a bit of better work in this fight than he was able to do against Christian Leroy Duncan, because that was a terrible performance. But I do think Nick Klein gets super sloppy, man. He does. And I feel like Andrey Pulyaev, he's a decent, well-rounded kickboxer, will have tried to round out those grappling skills. He has an 86% takedown defense, to be fair to him. But I don't know, he looks really weak to me in those clinch positions. And Nick Klein is decently strong early on. But I will go with Andrey Pulyaev by weathering a storm, going to the body early, trying to make an investment there, throwing in some body kicks, and then capitalizing when Nick Klein is slower and still kind of wishy-washy with his striking, still very loose, and capitalizing on that as the fight goes on. So I will pick Andrey Pulyaev by finish. We move to Rodolfo Vieira versus Tresean Gore. I'm going to pick Tresean Gore. Am I crazy for saying that I think Tresean Gore just does more on the feet than Rodolfo Vieira? Am I crazy for saying that? Is that a bad take from me? I think he defends the take. I think Rodolfo Vieira is a very piss-poor wrestler, doesn't have really good entries, is slow on the feet and slow on entries, and Tresean Gore can, I don't think he should, but he can also punish with a standing guillotine. Like, he's got a really good power bar guillotine that he can do. He doesn't jump it. He just lifts up and cranks on it. But also on the feet, he's not bad. Like, I understand last fight how he got tuned up by Marco Tulio. He hurt Marco Tulio, though, as well. Brian Battle, he did a lot of visible damage to Brian Battle in that fight. And those are Marco Tulio, who's fighting Michel Pereira, and Brian Battle, who is one of the... He just beat Randy Brown. It was controversial, but he beat Randy Brown. And then his other loss was to Cody Brundage, which, he just got caught. Rodolfo doesn't have power like that. He doesn't have striking like that. He's not good on the feet. He got outboxed by Andrei Petroski. Like, let's not forget that. His last fight out, he got outboxed by Andrei fucking Petroski, guys. I think Tresean's going to be better on the feet. This is going to be a fight where he's not fighting a super tall guy. Josh Fremd is like 6'4". Brian Battle's like 6'2". Marco Tulio seems taller, but he's like, I think he's like 6'1". But then you got like Antonio Trocoli, who's 6'5" and shit. He's fighting a dude his height who's going to be searching for takedowns. He knows that he's going to be searching for takedowns. And his stand-up is terrible. And Tresean Gore can be on the front foot. Rodolfo will go on the back foot in this fight. He does give up space. And Tresean, we saw that against Cody Brundage. He was pushing Cody Brundage back. He was pushing Antonio Trocoli back. Or Antonio Trocoli shot a takedown and got guillotined. And then Josh Fremd shot a takedown and he got guillotined. I just think Tresean Gore is going to be able to do more on the feet than Rodolfo Vieira. I get the record is terrible. He's 5-3. He's almost fucking 500% on the record. But Rodolfo Vieira is old. He's 35. And his last couple performances have not been what I want. He almost got beat up. He almost has the Cody Brundage loss on his record as well. He's almost 9-4 in that case. Rodolfo and Tresean Gore has like an 80-something% takedown defense. He's actually a decent wrestler. I'm pretty sure he was a wrestler at first. And then he has insane power, so he likes to strike. This is going to be a fight where he has more stand-up ability, more power ability, and he can defend takedowns. I think this is a terrible matchup for Rodolfo Vieira. He's a better striker as well than Andrey Petroski. Brian Battle beat. Did Brian Battle beat Andrey on the Ultimate Fighter, or was it Tresean? I forget. I think it was Brian. But yeah, I just think Tresean Gore is just a better. He's not he's a better Andrey Petroski in my opinion. He can defend takedowns. He doesn't have the wrestling ability maybe that we haven't really seen yet. But I think he's got better striking than Andrey, and he can defend takedowns. I think this is easy bread for Tresean Gore, honestly, over a guy like Rodolfo Vieira, who is older, who is slowing down, whose takedown entries aren't that great, whose only way to win is usually by submission. So, I will go with Tresean Gore I'll go with decision. I don't know if he finished. I think he'll just do more on the feet than Rodolfo. I don't think this is that crazy to say. I'm picking Tresean Gore. We move to the featured prelim, Rinya Nakamura versus Nathan Fletcher. I'm going to be picking Rinya Nakamura on this one. Rinya, I need you to win this one, brother. Brother, I need you to... My prospects video, brother. Come on. Rinya, please, man. Rinya Nakamura is an Olympic-level wrestler from Japan who shot one takedown against Muin Gafurov, by the way. He's got really deadly power in the hands. He fights he's a lot of overhands on the feet, but he hits really hard. Nathan Fletcher, if you don't know, he got taken down 6 times by Kalen Loughran, who isn't an Olympic-level wrestler, who is just a blockhead. Okay? I'm going to be picking Rinya Nakamura via the grappling. I think in this fight, he's going to shoot a lot more takedowns. I think it'll look a lot like Nathan Fletcher. He's losing to Con Offley on The Ultimate Fighter, who Con Offley in the UFC has looked dog shit. Like, let's keep it a buck. He's looked terrible. And Nathan lost to that guy. Now, Nathan has good wrestling of his own. He's got decent grappling in his own right. You look at the Gigamontas-Romashka fight where on the feet it was dangerous, yeah. But on the ground, Nathan Fletcher got the takedowns and got to a crucifix position and absolutely melted Zigimantas. I think Rinya Nakamura is going to be able to take down Nathan Fletcher. I don't think it's that crazy to say that. I think Nathan Fletcher's takedown defense is pretty shit, to be fair. Like, I don't think it's that good. I think Rinya is an Olympic-level wrestler. If he cannot take down Nathan Fletcher, if he doesn't try, he's a moron, okay? I'm predicting that he shoots takedowns. If he doesn't, then he's stupid. Then he's a stupid person, all right? I know that he didn't shoot any takedowns against Muin Gafurov. Maybe that's because he was frightened of Muin's submission game. I don't know. I'm just coming out with shit out of thin air. Nathan he's all right. On the feet, it'll be interesting because I think Nathan Fletcher is definitely more technical than Rinya Nakamura, but Rinya's got more power. I think Rinya is going to be able to shoot takedowns and take down Nathan Fletcher. I think this is going to be a lot of wrestling matches, to be fair, on this card. Until the main card. Then we're going to get into the fun shit, but Rinya should be able to take down Nathan Fletcher. If he isn't, then I was wrong. I was wrong about Rinya Nakamura, I guess. I need this one. There's some fights on this card that I need to see people win, dude. I need Rinya Nakamura to win. Rinya by unanimous decision, 30-27. Being able to power his way into takedowns, throwing the big ol' overhand, going for a single leg. Kind of what RDR was doing a lot to Robert Whittaker, where you throw the right overhand, it lands, but then you're also grabbing the lead leg with the left arm. I think it's going to be a lot of that. So I'll go Rinya Nakamura. We move to the start of the main card. Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos. This is going to be a badass fight. I'm picking Kevin Vallejos to win. It would have been even more badass if Danny Silva kept to his Contender Series fight style, where he throws like 300 strikes in 15 minutes, even though he hasn't done that yet in the UFC, because he hopped off the cycle. But anyways, this is going to be a badass fight. Danny used to fight like a just taller version of Kevin Vallejos, just walking forward, throwing a bunch. Well, Kevin doesn't throw a bunch, but I think Kevin Vallejos is just a better Danny Silva and more patient than even his current version, and he hits harder. Danny Silva doesn't have great head movement. He's been shooting a lot of takedowns recently, which kind of pisses me off. It's so interesting because he had such a wild Contender Series performance, and then he arguably lost to Josh Culibao. Arguably lost to Josh Culibao, and then had a close fight with Lucas Almeida, in which he slowed down. I think Kevin's going to be ripping to Danny's body very early on, ripping those combinations. Left 2 to the body, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 2 to the body. Not 2 to the body. 3 to the body, 4 to the head. I think it's going to be a lot of that. Left hook to the body, right hand to the right hook up the top. I think it's going to be a lot of that. Kevin Vallejos has really good pressure. He was walking down John Silva as a 21-year-old. He's very powerful, very dense guy. He's got good takedown defense. I think Danny Silva is going to be completely outgunned here. Danny Silva does hit hard. We saw that against Josh Culibao. He does hit really hard. It's just he isn't as technical as a Kevin Vallejos. He's not that technical, really. He's kind of a hip slinger, a little bit, kind of swinging from the hip a little bit. I remember it was like an uppercut that he caught Josh Culibao with. It almost looked on accident. It looked like he was going to the body, and then Josh ducked right into it. Danny usually is the guy walking people down. You know what I mean? He's usually the guy on the lead foot, like, I'm doing shit. But people can land on him because he doesn't move his head at all. And Kevin Vallejos hits insanely hard. And we've seen what happens when he lands on people. Sung Woo Choi goes to the fucking ground. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of experience. He's super young, super technical, really good boxing. I think Kevin Vallejos, like I said, I think he has more power than Danny Silva. And Danny Silva doesn't move his head at all. And he fought a really long-rangey guy who was able to walk him down because Lucas Almeida gives up space. Kevin Vallejos does not give up space. He is the one that takes it. He takes the space. He takes what should be given. You know what I mean? Kevin's going to be walking Danny Silva down, or it's going to be in the center, and I think Kevin Vallejos has more technique, and he's better in the pocket. And he has way more combinations that he can flow with. And Danny Silva, he can throw a lot in combination, but it's a lot of the same thing over and over again, like a bunch of like hooks on top of one another. Not like hook, right uppercut, left hook, right straight, left uppercut, kind of switching it up. Danny Silva's very like, oh, like very like, you know, padding where it's like the uppercut like that shit. Kevin Vallejos will mix it up. He goes to the body a lot, which will play into Kevin Vallejos' game. He'll zap on the energy of Danny Silva by ripping to the body. He goes for the liver every time. You look at what he does to people. Like, he had a competitive fight with John Silva. He didn't get trick-shotted by that motherfucker. Kevin should beat Danny Silva. Danny's UFC run has been very lackluster, in my opinion, since his Contender Series performance. I'm picking Kevin Vallejos to finish him. I think he finishes Danny Silva, even though Danny Silva is very durable. He fought Angel Pacheco. All right, Angel doesn't really hit that hard. So I'm going with Kevin Vallejos to knock out Danny Silva in the first or second round. Danny's going to be a bit more panicky because he's the one on the back foot, not on the lead. And he's going to be trying to roll with shit. Not roll because he doesn't roll. He just keeps his head on the center line. He's going to be getting tagged up with combination on combination on combination. And Kevin's going to eventually land something that's too big for Danny, and he's going to fold against the fence. And Kevin's going to get another ground and pound TKO stoppage. I'll go Kevin Vallejos. We move to Neil Magny versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I know Elizeu's coming off a knockout loss, but I'm going to pick him to win this fight by TKO. I think we already saw Elizeu deal with a better Neil Magny and Randy Brown, and he did pretty well. And Randy's actually, like, way better than Neil Magny right now. So, that's not even really a fair comparison. I think Neil Magny is so death-defyingly slow. Now, actually, Elizeu he's dealt with 2 better Neil Magnys in Chidi and Njokuani and fucking Randy Brown. Like, I feel he's dealt with both of them. And in his last fight, he fought another really tall motherfucker and finished him. It was the fucking, what's-his-face? He had one fight in the UFC, got cut almost immediately. He was like 6'4", and he finished him in like 30 seconds. It was on the Protest Magny card, wasn't it? I think Elizeu's powerful. He can land over the top. I feel like Neil Magny is just so slow now. You know what I mean? And Elizeu's on his capoeira shit where he's moving around a lot. He's not like Carlos, where like Neil was able to land on Carlos and try and clinch him. That's just because Carlos kind of allowed it. Elizeu will fight out of those positions. And he hits really hard. And Neil Magny, it just seems like if you land a low kick on him, he doesn't know what to do. And Elizeu's got pretty gnarly low kicks when he does throw them. And he can set them up to the body and then set up kicks to the body and then the head. And I just think Neil Magny is... it's almost like he's too large for his frame. Like, his frame is too long, for him to be, like, that good anymore. Like, when he got older, his joints are so, like they're like, God damn, why are you still training, dude? He's like, you're tall, just sit down. And, like, you see him pumping these know-nothing, good-for-nothing jabs out there that have nothing on them. Elizeu's going to be able to slip past those and land a bomb of a right hand over on Neil Magny. I get this is short notice for Elizeu, and I'm usually not a big fan of that. But he fought in March. He got TKO'd, sure, but it's been 4 months. You know what I mean? He's taken some time off. Neil Magny was training for a grappler in Gunnar Nelson, which that would have been an interesting fight, honestly. Elizeu can grapple. I just think that he's got a better striking pattern than Neil Magny. I think he's got a better striking system. And he's quicker, more powerful, and can land better than Neil Magny. And Neil Magny, to be fair, in a smaller cage, that does help him. Actually, no, it helps Elizeu. It helps them both in their own significant ways. Neil Magny can clinch easier in the apex because it's a smaller cage. He can get a hold of him. But Elizeu can close distance way easier in the apex on Neil Magny, when Neil Magny should be backing up, trying to use the range. And I don't think Neil uses his range well. He honestly, like, blitzes in sometimes. Again, I feel like Elizeu's going to be able to low kick very easily here. Chop upstairs as well with some hooks. Go to the body. He's got a really long torso. Just rip something there. It'll land. You know what I mean? And Elizeu's very powerful. So, I will go Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. It will be an interesting match because Neil is significantly larger than him. I just think Neil Magny's a little washed in it. You know what I mean? And I feel like his chin is deteriorating. The thing that Carlos landed on him, I don't even know. You know what I mean? I know Carlos hits really fucking hard. I know Prates hits he's got the death touch. But Elizeu hits pretty hard in his own right. So I will go easy DS to win this fight by TKO. In the second round. I'll go specifically the second. We move to Karol Rosa versus Nora Cornolle. I'll pick Nora. Fuck it. This fight's pretty weird to predict. Because Karol Rosa is good. She's actually pretty solid at fighting. She's got really good output. She just does this thing where she doesn't like do enough to win fights a lot of the time. Like, she really just doesn't really she doesn't like put herself out in front for the judges to be like, oh yeah, Karol's winning. I feel like Nora Cornolle does a bit more, like, does a bit of a better job at that than Karol Rosa does, where she is doing a bit more visible damage to her opponents. She's landing big shots that gain a reaction. She uses the clinch to her advantage, is kneeing in the clinch, throwing elbows in the clinch, going for trips, doing all this shit. You know what I mean? And even though Nora's old, she's 35 for a prospect at women's bantamweight. Not what I like to see. She doesn't have a lot of damage on her, and Karol Rosa has taken and been in quite a few wars. And I feel like Nora Cornolle's style actually does mesh pretty well with Karol Rosa. A lot of kicking from Nora Cornolle, a lot of low kicks on Karol Rosa, some body kicks here and there, body knees to the body to slow her down, because Karol Rosa will slow down as this fight goes on. And Nora does have the takedown threat that is there. We see in the Haley Cohen fight, she gets top position, finds a submission. Even against, like, Jocelyn Edwards in her debut. It was Jocelyn Edwards, right? I think it was. Yeah, because that was UFC Paris. That was the first fight I ever covered. The first card I ever covered on the channel. Nora, even though she got taken down, she was able to reverse position. She's got really good reversing ability. And this isn't an opponent that is extremely taller and rangier than her, which is going to be her downfall every time, every day of the week, which is just Jacqueline Cavalcanti at the end of it. And even then, that fight was somewhat competitive with Nora Cornolle. I think Karol Rosa just doesn't do enough to, like, separate herself. And I feel like at this point in the UFC will try to get Nora Cornolle. I feel like Nora Cornolle will just land the shots that'll make the judges go, "Whoa, that was something," right? They'll be looking at each other like, "That land? Was that knee to the head? That land? That was solid." Like, the rest of this fight's been a lot of low kicking at range and jabbing. That was a knee to the head. That's like 10 points right there, right? They'll just be looking at each other talking about that shit. I just think Karol Rosa doesn't do enough. I think it's going to be a really competitive fight on the feet, because Karol Rosa does have good boxing and kickboxing chops. Like I said, the output isn't there for her. And I feel like Nora Cornolle will use her clinch game to her advantage, try and land knees to the body, knees to the head, elbows up close, just that type of thing. Maybe search for a takedown here or there. Because Karol Rosa's takedown defense is good, but she doesn't really do a lot off her back. So I will go with Nora Cornolle. I think it will be competitive. Also an underdog. So I got to find some. You know what I mean? Because last week, fucking 7 of them won. So I'll go with Nora Cornolle. We move to the featured fight. Elves Brenner versus Estevam Ribovic. You guys know who I'm fucking going with. He should be in the banner, honestly. I need to update the banner and throw Estevam Ribovic on that motherfucker. Estevam Ribovic is going to beat the shit out of Elves Brenner and finish him in the first or second round, I believe. Elves Brenner, on the come-up, was very good. Not very good. He was just... He looked really cool. Finishing Guram Kutateledze. He beat... was it Zabir Tukagov or whatever? He misses weight a lot. He's from that Khabib camp. He's Zubaira Tugov or whatever. And Elves beat him. It was kind of a robbery. But then he knocked out fucking Kainan Khrushchevsky. I didn't even look at Tapology. That was straight from the dome. But he's on a 2-fight losing skid, and there's fights that he's getting his absolute ass handed to him. And a lot of it is in the striking department, because he is a very slow, lumbering guy in this lightweight division. Mukhtabek Orabai was able to take advantage of it. Joel Alvarez took extreme advantage of it. And it seems like any somewhat heavy hitter that he goes against, he goes Edson Barboza mode in a way where it seems like everything hurts him. I think Esteban's going to tag him up on the feet very promptly and very early and hurt him a lot, because Esteban throws a lot in combinations, and he's also got good, not great takedown defense, but I feel like Elves Brenner doesn't shoot enough takedowns for that to be an extreme threat in this fight, if you get what I'm saying. Esteban, great boxing combinations, really wild, really up close, and this isn't a fight where he's going to be at a severe size disadvantage like he was against Daniel Zellhuber. It'll be a lot like and Elves isn't fast like Nasrat Haqparast, which is what really gave Esteban troubles, was the speed of Nasrat Haqparast, and even then Esteban was able to weather that storm and almost find a finish in the third round. I think Elves Brenner overall is just a bit too sloppy boppy for me to pick him against a guy like Estevam Ribovic. I think Esteban's going to be able to get his boxing combinations flowing fast and early, landing to the body, landing those kicks to the body, landing head kicks, landing those hook uppercut combinations that he throws, those 8-punch combinations that he likes. And Elves does give up space in times, and he is easy to hurt. He has good recovery, but his chin seemingly, it's getting worse every fight, it seems like. And he took a shit ton of damage from Joel Alvarez last time out. I just think Esteban, and he hasn't fought in a while either. This will be his first fight in a year. Yeah, he fought on August 3rd, that fucking UFC Abu Dhabi, Sanhagen versus Nurmagomedov. He got his ass handed to him on that card by Joel Alvarez. It's been a year since. I think Esteban Rubovic is going to take advantage of that and make Elves Brenner quit in this fight. Again, kind of landing those boxing combinations, stuffing the responsive takedown attempts from Elves Brenner. Elves does hit hard, but Esteban's got a decent chin on him. Very good head on this kid's shoulders. And I think he will find the chin of Elves Brenner often and early, landing to the body, landing to the head, just landing a bunch of combinations, kicking at range as well. I just think Esteban Ribovic is too good for Elves Brenner. I think he'll find a finish in the second round. Kind of against the fence, kind of landing to the body, uppercutting to the head, kind of bopping his head up, hook over the side of the guard because he's going to be blocked up like this. You can't see me, but you know what I'm saying. I'll go Elves Brenner via finish over... No, Esteban Ribovic by finish. I don't know why I just... Elves Brenner's... Blah, blah. I'm picking Esteban Ribovic is what I'm getting at. We move to the co-main event, Mateusz Rąbecki versus Chris Duncan. I'm going to be picking Mateusz Rąbecki to win this by TKO in the first round. Chris Duncan is on a little bit of a killing spree since losing to Manuel Torres. I think it's 2 wins in a row for him. Balashioki and who did he just beat? Jordan Vucenic. Both by guillotine, funny enough. I still think his chin is a massive issue, and I feel like Jordan Vucenic would have won that fight if he doesn't shoot the takedowns. Chris Duncan, post-first round striking, is very stiff. He gets hurt a lot by a lot of people, and Mateusz Rąbecki hits really fucking hard. And Mateusz Rąbecki, honestly enough, his takedowns are very, defensive submission safe. He's a very big slam type of guy. He likes to slam you on your back. And Chris Duncan, I feel, if you tag him once and hurt him, he'll really show it. You know what I mean? He's a very visibly hurt kind of guy. It's kind of his style, is to look visibly hurt whenever people hurt him. You get Charlie Campbell fight. Gets dropped 3 times, comes back and win literally 2 seconds later. Manuel Torres hurts him with a head kick, I believe. Hurts him, takes him down, subs him. Rąbecki also has really good submission game. When he's on top, he has really good ground and pound, really good jiu-jitsu. I feel like overall he has a really heavy right overhand, and Chris Duncan's head movement is not the best in my opinion. I feel like he gets hit and hurt a lot, honestly. He's getting kind of lucky, in my opinion, in these fights. I think Rąbecki has really good pressure early on. Chris Duncan, he's kind of squatted. I feel like it's going to be a brutal CTE society knockout for Mateusz Rąbecki, kind of fading in and out. Wild right overhand, trying to get, like I said earlier, right overhand, left hand trying to get the single leg, but instead it's just Chris Duncan getting brutally knocked unconscious, and he's hitting the ground, and then Rąbecki just caveman hammer fisting, with a rock, double hammer fisting Chris Duncan. Double hammer fisting him like a fucking ape, just and then Chris Duncan, I think Rąbecki should win this pretty easily. In my opinion, Chris Duncan's durability is very sus to me, and I feel like he's getting kind of lucky with these outcomes in these fights. Jordan Vucenic shoots a shitty takedown after beating Chris Duncan on the feet the entire second round, and then shoots a wayward takedown and gets reversed and guillotined for it. I think Rąbecki should win this fairly easily. I mean, look at the difference. They're both 32 years old. Look at fucking Rumbetsky. He's got fucking test boosters to the fucking max. So I'm picking Mateusz Rumbetsky to win this fight. We move to the main event. Tatsuro Taira versus Hyun-Sung Park. I'm going to pick Tatsuro Taira. This is going to be a fight that I'm going to lean on merit a lot with the breakdown. Tatsuro Taira, third fight in a row with a 5-round training camp. Third main event in a row for Taira. Hyun-Sung Park was supposed to be fighting a week from now on short notice against Steve Erceg. So he goes from a week from now, August 9th, Steve Erceg, third round, 3-round co-main event, to then being displaced to this card as a main event in a 5-round fight against Tatsuro Taira. Two completely different styles, both on short notice. This one actually more short notice. It is an interesting fight. I will say Hyun-Sung Park, one of my favorite flyweight prospects right now. Kind of sucks that he's the one that had to take this fight. I kind of understand why they picked him instead of Erceg, to be fair, because if Erceg loses, then honestly he could have been cut. To be honest with you, that'd be 4 losses in a row for Erceg, and you kind of want to keep Erceg around because he's got a huge fan base. And if he loses to Taira, that's just it's a bunch of bullshit. So, in this fight, the striking, I lean towards Hyun-Sung Park. I feel like he's got a bit more credibility when it comes to his combinations and overall technique. But Taira is not that outmatched like he was previously, like in the Royval fight, like in the Perez fight, even in my opinion. Hyun-Sung Park is kind of stiff in moments, and he does a lot of the same combinations. Goes to the body really well, but he kind of, I think he almost overthrows and overextends sometimes to try and dig to the body in a way. And he really loves like a left hook, right hand, left knee to the body type combo. But I think Taira is going to be able to take down Hyun-Sung Park. I forget which one of the Road to UFC fights. It went to the 3rd round and he got a submission, Hyun-Sung Park. In that fight, I think he got taken down a couple of times, and he looks a bit awkward when he's off his back. And Taira has been able to grapple with literally the best guys in this division. The 2 times that he's fought higher-ups, Alex Perez, I get that the first round was scored to Alex Perez, but once Taira eventually got to his back, which he got the takedown and got to the back very easily once he was like, oh, I'm just going to shoot a takedown. I know that was an injury, but that fight was probably finished, let's be honest. Alex Perez has been submitted a lot. Brandon Royval, Tatsuro Taira literally just won 2 rounds because he got to Royval's back and held him for the entire round. So, and even in the striking, outside of the almost near finish, Taira wasn't doing that bad, in my opinion. He wasn't getting absolutely 10-8'd on the feet. He still was landing some stuff. But there was just the moment where he was so tired and Brandon Royval was so close to finish him that everyone was like, oh my god. The first round was still pretty close. I think Taira is going to be a bit too big. I know they're the same height, but Taira has this wild stance where his legs are he's got really wide set legs, and his lead arm is literally almost fully extended in a way. It's the wildest thing ever. And Taira counters really well when people blitz into him, in my opinion, once he realizes that that's what like their whole game plan is. Like Perez, in a way, he started to counter that with like a right rear side uppercut up the middle that led to him getting a tie clinch because he would hit him and then grab and then knee and knee and knee, and then that kind of allowed him to try and get the grappling going. And even Hyun-Sung Park, he can actually get a takedown because he really does overextend a lot. I think it'll be interesting. It definitely shouldn't be a main event, but I think Taira will bounce back in the win column. Hyun-Sung Park will be sacrificed. He's got these really T-Rex built arms in a way where they're so like scrunched up. Very dangerous, very powerful, decent grappler, offensive grappler in his own right. I just think his defensive grappling is a little wishy-washy, and I don't think the stand-up is that far apart between them. So I always will lean with the more credentialed person in this fight, which it will be Tatsuro Taira. So I'll go Tatsuro Taira via 2nd round submission. I think the first round will be a bit competitive. Maybe even Hyun-Sung Park will land a big shot, win the round based off that. I feel once Taira Taira gets his grappling going against a guy like Hyun-Sung Park, who also has never fought 5 rounds in his entire life, who is taking this on short notice, who in the UFC we've only seen him go to the... What was his finale? I think it was that 3rd round fight, which it was a little bit of a weird performance from him. But his 2 wins in the UFC outside of that have been Shannon Ross and Carlos Hernandez. So I don't take a lot into account going, like, Taira Taira did the same thing to Carlos Hernandez. So he actually knocked him out. So Hyun-Sung Park, he's good. I just don't think he's good enough to get into that top 6 yet. Give him some time. He's 29. Taira Taira via 2nd round submission. Lock it in. I'm UFC Thoughts. These have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 108. Taira vs. Park on August 2nd, 2025. Jesus. My confident picks reside with Austin Bashi. Bars. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Kevin Vallejos and Esteban Ribovic. I'm going to give a pre-card rating of 6 out of 10. For an Apex card, there's actually a lot of really solid fights on here that I'm looking forward to, most of which are on the main card. Like Silva, Vallejos, Ribovic, Brenner. The main event, even though it's not an insane name value fight with Hyun-Sung Park now, I actually am really stoked to see how he does against a Taira. And Rombetsky versus fucking Chris Duncan as well. So, yeah, this card had a lot of shit taken away from it. We were supposed to see Azamat Bekoev fight on this card, which that fight would have also been pretty sick. But, yeah, if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Who do you guys think is going to win in the main event? Who are some of your more confident picks? I will see you guys after the fights. Peace.